After explaining dozens of ways to attract women, today I will explain two of the fastest ways to attract any girl, no matter who she is. The first thing you need to understand is an important principle about how our brains work as humans. Imagine a smoker who goes to the doctor, and the doctor tells him, if you smoke again, you will die, or your heart will stop beating. At that moment, he will stop smoking, as if he was never a smoker before. But if the doctor tells him, if you quit smoking, you will maintain your health, it is very likely that the smoker will not stop smoking. This is because our brain reacts to negatives more strongly than it reacts to positives. Your brain is programmed to run away from danger more than it is programmed to seek something good. I know that the examples I have given may seem a little strange and unrelated to the topic, but what I want you to understand now is that our brains are wired to react more to negatives than to positives. Now, how can we apply this to women? Imagine a man who starts talking to a beautiful woman. Usually, what he does is try to find something in common between them, looking for something they both like, such as a song they both enjoy, or a movie they both like, and so on. This method is good for breaking the ice, and is not wrong, but there is a better, faster, and more effective way, and that is finding something you both hate. From my experience, this has been one of the most effective ways to make women feel a strong attraction toward me. This shared hatred can take many forms. It could be a common enemy. For example, you both might hate social media and how it has made people superficial, more concerned with taking pictures than actually living in the moment, or how dating apps have ruined relationships, making dating difficult and meaningless. Throughout history, a common enemy has been one of the strongest ways to build alliances, and one of the things that most strongly attracts people to each other is having a shared enemy. That's why one of the best questions you can ask a woman is, what is the thing you hate the most? Who is your enemy? Then, if you also hate the same thing, tell her, and naturally, you will both start expressing your dislike for it. And when you express this hatred, you must do it passionately. This is extremely important. Express it with passion. Another thing is having a person you both hate. If I ask you now, who is the person you love the most after your mother and family? You will probably struggle to name a specific person, but if I ask you about someone you hate, you will easily be able to list people you dislike, because we tend to bond more over the people we hate than the ones we love. That's why, if you and the woman both dislike the same person, whether it's a boss, a teacher, or an annoying customer at work, this can also create a bond between you two very quickly. Sometimes this might be difficult, because not everyone is open about who they hate, and you might feel uncomfortable asking someone you just met about a person they dislike. But if you can get a girl to tell you about someone she hates, you will save a lot of time with her. And even if you don't hate that person yourself, ask her why she hates them. Try to understand what's on her mind, listen carefully, and observe how she starts talking about them in a passionate and emotional way while expressing her hatred toward them. Another interesting element of shared hatred, and this is something I first came across through a story I had read in a book, is a story the author told about one of his friends at work. The author worked in a restaurant, and he had a friend whose name I don't remember exactly, but let's call him Ross. Ross was one of the guys who attracted the most women working at that restaurant, and the way he did it was through a technique called partners in crime. Ross created a you and me against the world dynamic, and that's the mindset you should keep in mind during your interactions with a girl. You and me against the world. What Ross would do is secretly prank his coworkers and have inside jokes about certain customers who would come in. When those customers arrived, he would look at the girl and make a face, signaling the inside joke. He was always goofing around, and it was always him and the girl getting yelled at by the boss, only to later talk trash about the boss together. He simply created this us against them vibe, and that's the frame you should aim to create in your interactions. Finally, when it comes to shared hatred, it can be something simple like a food you both dislike, a city you both find boring, a TV show or movie you both think is terrible. Then, you just start talking about that thing, and each of you expresses how much you dislike it. Everything I've explained to you so far is simply how to use this instinct of bonding through negative emotions to your advantage. The second thing you will need to create attraction between you and a girl is to make her laugh. Now, listen to me carefully. Before I explain how to make her laugh, let me first explain the concept of comedy and how it works in attraction. Making a girl laugh is one of the best ways to accelerate attraction. This is a natural instinct in us. And if you have watched this video, you have already heard me talk about an important concept in attraction, which is that opposites attract. And as a man, you are the opposite of a woman. This principle applies even to laughter. You, as a man, are attracted to a woman who laughs at your jokes, and a woman is attracted to a man who makes her laugh. I want you to pay attention to something. If you ever find yourself in a group of men and women, and a guy says something that makes a girl laugh, watch closely. Even if that guy didn't know the girl before and wasn't even interested in her, the moment she laughs at his words, he will forget everything else, turn to her, and want to talk to her. And this might happen to you as well. If you think about it, you'll realize that the moment a girl laughs at a joke you made, you feel an intense rush of happiness, and you become strongly attracted to her. Why? Because this happens in your subconscious mind. As a man, you naturally feel attracted to a girl who laughs at your jokes, even if, under normal circumstances, you wouldn't find her attractive at all. But for women, they feel attracted to the man who makes them laugh. And just like you feel a strong attraction to a girl who laughs at your jokes, I want you to multiply that feeling by 10, because that's the level of attraction a woman feels toward a man who can make her laugh. And in my personal opinion, and based on my own experiences, I firmly believe that the fastest way to a woman's heart is through laughter. But how do you make her laugh? At this point, I will pause the explanation in the video to tell you something I want you to remember for the rest of your life. A sense of humor is not something you are born with. If you are someone who is not naturally funny, that does not mean you don't have the ability to be funny. Being funny is not just something you have, it's something you learn. I'm the one talking to you right now, and for most of my life, I considered myself that guy whose jokes were terrible and never made anyone laugh. But the moment I started studying psychology, I became interested in comedy. I started reading books, watching lessons about humor, and training myself. And through this, I was able to become the funniest person in my social circle, whether among my guy friends or among women. I trained my subconscious to naturally come up with jokes that would make my friends fall to the ground laughing and hold their stomachs from laughing too hard. So this is the first thing I want you to understand. There is no such thing as I'm not funny. Humor is something you either learn unconsciously or you learn it deliberately. That's the first point. Now, the second point, teaching you how to make a girl laugh is something that would require a 2-hour lecture. I can't explain the psychology of humor in full detail or break down every technique, but I will give you one of the easiest and fastest techniques you can use to make a girl laugh: misinterpretation and speculation. If you're a fan of romantic comedy series or movies, you'll notice that this is one of the most commonly used techniques. Why? Because it's one of the easiest ways to make people laugh in general, and especially women. This technique makes women laugh more than men. There isn't enough time to explain why, but just trust me. Why would I lie to you? And this technique is very easy to apply. All you have to do is listen to what the girl says and find something you can misinterpret. The best kinds of misinterpretations are sexual ones, but you can also misinterpret her in a way that makes her seem naive, obsessive, trying to impress you, paranoid, dorky, or even like a cute little puppy. Anything you can do or find to misinterpret will work. So, how can we use misinterpretations to create something powerful that you can keep using throughout the interaction? Let's say you're talking to a girl, and she mentions her girlfriend. You can misinterpret that and assume she means a romantic partner, instead of just a friend, and say, "Oh, you have a girlfriend? That's so cool that you're open-minded like that. Do you have more than one? Do they get jealous?" Here, you took a simple misinterpretation and made it sound like a lesbian relationship instead of just a friendship. Then you exaggerated it by asking, "Do you have more than one? Do they get jealous?" That's the formula. Misinterpret, then exaggerate. Now, if you're someone who isn't naturally funny and can't tell jokes without blushing or getting nervous, you don't need to exaggerate. You can just say, "Wow, are you a lesbian?" and stay silent. You'll notice that she will start laughing on her own and try to correct you while she's laughing. Another way to use misinterpretation is through speculation. You can speculate about why she says or does something. Let's say you're talking to her and she calls you out on a pickup line and says, "Oh, that's a good pickup line." You can speculate and say something like, "Oh, are you saying that because no one usually talks to you? Oh, that's so cute." And to wrap up this point about making her laugh, I want to explain two important rules. If you've been following this series on how to attract women, you've probably heard me say that you shouldn't take the conversation too seriously. You should be joking around and enjoying it. And the fastest way to make a girl enjoy the conversation is to enjoy it yourself and laugh. But when you want to tell a joke, please don't laugh before her. The first thing you shouldn't do is laugh too much at your own jokes. When you start bantering with a girl, if you land a good joke, don't laugh before she does. When she starts laughing, that's fine. But don't try to fill the silence with laughter just to break the tension. It's almost better not to laugh at your own jokes at all. Instead of trying to fill the void, you can give her that "yeah, I got you" smile. But laughing is not necessary. Another mistake I see guys make is that if the girl doesn't laugh, they assume she didn't understand a joke and try to explain it. Let me explain something to you. If you tell a joke and the girl doesn't laugh, there are two reasons. Either the joke wasn't funny to her, or she didn't understand it. In the first case, if she didn't find the joke funny and you start explaining it, you're only making yourself look bad and you're putting her in an awkward situation. The conversation will become boring, and the girl will start waiting for an excuse to leave. In the second case, if she actually didn't understand a joke and you start explaining it, it is impossible for her to find it funny after that. One of the most important elements of a good joke is that it has to come at an unexpected moment. The moment you start explaining your joke, you're killing the element of surprise. So never explain your joke. Even if she says, "I didn't get it," just say nothing and move on. Try to avoid that joke entirely, and don't attempt to say it again. And here, we have reached the end of the video. In short, the fastest way to attract a girl is to find a common dislike and make her laugh. If you want me to go deeper into the topic of humor, please let me know in the comments. And this was Kelly Facts, and I'll see you in the next video.